Welcome back to the Shiels Golf Show podcast, everybody. It's been a few weeks. Apologise about that. This is episode 287, and I'm sure there's quite a bit to talk about. There was some breaking news over the last few days, and it certainly spread like wildfire, and I want to take this opportunity to talk about it a little bit more. I'm not alone. Guy is here. Guy, co-host Guy is here. How are you doing, pal? Are you good?
I'm great. I'm excited for this podcast. It's been a little while since I've done one. It's probably been like 6 weeks now, which isn't great.
No.
No, maybe not 6 weeks, maybe 4.
It's been a busy period. Been getting a lot of exciting things lined up. Holidays, Christmas, etc. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
New year, new podcast, new massive amount of news to share and talk about.
Is the podcast back? Bigger than ever?
Is back.
Every week?
Let's do our best.
Okay.
Let's do our best. We're up to 287. Let's at least get to 300.
Yes.
Take baby steps. Obviously, on Friday, the big news was announced. 4 p.m. UK time. We teased it for a few weeks, granted. And it came out that I am now a LIV Golf ambassador and content creator. It's definitely caused a lot of chat, a lot of interested takes. And I think the reason why all those years ago we set up a podcast, not for this reason, but was to be able to share and be able to kind of talk in a relaxed, friendly manner. Hopefully you guys are either listening in the car or you're watching it on YouTube or you're listening in the gym. It's a bit of a time where we can sit down and really tell you what's kind of going on, what's happening. And I think this episode, more than ever, this is really important to do that in this episode.
Do the people listening who aren't watching, they don't know what you're wearing right now, will they? They might still have visions in their head that you're still with your LIV bomber jacket on. Is that the case? Can you confirm or deny?
It is not on. I'm rocking my normal Lyle Scott jumper, my birdie sauce hat. It's Rick Shiels that you know and love, hopefully. Maybe
no one tolerate.
Maybe yeah, there's been huge amounts of reaction. First off, thank you for genuinely everyone for leaving a comment. Some are very, 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 very positive. Some were very not mixed. But I kind of want to understand and almost share with you guys this it is exciting news. It is really huge for the channel. But I also want to put you guys listening and watching, I want to put your mind at ease. Like, we mentioned it in the announcement video. As much as it's exciting, and we traveling the world playing with incredible golfers at incredible venues, it's still the same Rick. It's still, the same wonderful team that we've got. You'll still be seeing regular content that we'll be releasing throughout the year. If anything, it's just what we've done, but we're going to get more access. It's going to be better. We're going to be filming in the sunshine a lot more, and it'll just be a lot more of what you already like, but just more of it.
Yeah, I think obviously the announcement that went on Friday was obviously posted on your main channel. It was on every social media platform that we obviously operate. It was across a lot of golf news, which was great that so many people kind of heard about it. I suppose the possible, don't use the word worry, or maybe concern still is a little bit strong, but the thoughts that some people might have is, and I understand this, to be honest, was okay, that's the Rick that we know, love, or tolerate, whichever of those it is now gone. And we're not going to have that anymore. That era, that 13 years of golf content from Rick, he's gone. He's now something different. But to your point, and obviously we've got a video already in the can going live this Friday, which will give some spoilers on, little spoilers for the audience, for the Hardcore Clubhouse members. Genuinely, and hand on heart, people can believe this or not believe it. Hope you do believe it. The content isn't really going to change at its core. It still is you going around doing a break 75 and maybe shooting 72 and having a great day, maybe shooting 82 and having a bad day. The golf courses will be different. There'll be some amazing ones. You will have access to LIV players, to LIV golf courses, to the teams. That is very different, but it won't feel when you're watching it. I don't believe, because the first edit I've seen, it still feels like it is you and it's the core. And I think that is the most important thing to get across to everybody listening, that don't worry, it's not a bad change. It's honestly only a positive.
And in this podcast, we want to talk about the idea that we've been either anti-LIV or pro-LIV, or because I've had comments from both sides. Some people saying, oh, he's really anti-LIV, and some people say he's always been really pro-LIV. So we'll talk about that a bit more in the podcast as well. But genuinely, the content that we've started to film, and our first trip is actually next week. We go to Riyadh and then straight into Adelaide, which I'm super excited about. as Guy just mentioned, the first video we did with John Rahm and Brooks Koepka, I've also watched the first edit. It's actually really good.
I think we have to chat a bit about this because it is a game changer.
It's really good. First off, John Rahm is wonderful with his time. His golf is outstanding. He was looking in great shape.
He's a big guy, isn't he? I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean he's a specimen.
Yeah.
He's a muscular guy. He's tall. Well, yeah.
I look like a little
child
next to him.
Yeah.
But genuinely really good with his time. I've spoke to John Rahm in the past. I told the story where he bumped into me at the Masters, and it was really cool scenario for me. But he was dead friendly. He was dead chilled. We shot a really, really cool little kind of mini video to kick the series off. But what the little bits of insight and the chit chat, and I seemed very relaxed with him, and he seemed very relaxed with me. And then his golf was outrageous. I can't wait to show you that. Mine was different. I started off bad, but got better. And then Brooks Koepka. Like, nobody's seen Brooks Koepka on a YouTube video.
I'm going to be honest now. When Brooks first came to film that day, he kind of came across as people, or as I would expect, kind of very cool. Wasn't short, but didn't say much more than what was necessary. He just kind of there doing his job, going to play golf with Rick. He was obviously happy enough to be there. Within 10 minutes, it just flipped 180, and genuinely, and this is a respect to Brooks, by the end of the filming session, it was almost like he couldn't stop talking. I went in a good way, so much gold he was giving you that he obviously felt relaxed. And I think that's something this year we are so committed to doing, is that thankfully now tour pros of any caliber, any tour, are coming much more aware of YouTube and collaborating with YouTube. You see it loads on so many channels. I think the only thing I'd say with that, though, is as good as it is for the industry and for everybody who's creating the content, is that eventually will become quite the norm. I think what's really key, what we're so keen to unlock with this, and we have already in the first video, is a bit more of the behind the scenes, of the actual realness and the rawness and the chats in the buggy, the bits before they go and play. I think if we can unlock that, which is our commitment, it's going to give so much value to the viewer.
Yeah, Brooks, through the journey of the holes that he played, he was just so much more chilled and relaxed. And like I said, he was an intimidating character. And obviously, my only run-in with Brooks before filming with him was a brief encounter in a nightclub in St Andrews.
Yeah.
Where he pointed to security, pointed to me.
Did he even need security?
If he'd have looked at me and said, get out, I'd have been out.
Hear me out now. You and Brooks this time next year have a celebrity boxing match. You follow the footsteps of your Jake Pauls, your Logan Pauls. How many 3-minute rounds would you last with Brooks?
It's not about how many 3-minute rounds, it's how many minutes in the first round I would last.
He's a big guy.
But no, Brooks, I asked him the question as well. I asked him what happened that night. Why did you kick me out of the nightclub in St Andrews? And wait to see his response.
Yep.
He was, I think he was a bit taken aback that I was so upfront. But it was really, really cool. That content was good. But to give you an idea, so we, a few weeks ago, obviously before the news broke, we went over to West Palm Beach as a team, and we spent a week at Teams Week. This is a week where all the players come together. The new CEO of LIV Golf, Scott O'Neill, was there. All the GMs are there. It's a week where they'll film all the promo content, everything that they want to use throughout the year. We were invited to obviously film some content as well. And we got to meet loads of the players, and it was really nice. Like, so many of the players watch the content, are excited about filming this year. We had a few run-ins with professional golfers from LIV Golf that might have heard a few constructive criticism comments.
Yep.
That you've been saying.
Yeah.
I'm taking no responsibility.
I think I took more heat than you.
You did. Rightly so. We did a sit-down podcast with Anthony Kim, which will be coming out soon. And Anthony Kim brought up the fact that you called him a gimmick.
Yeah.
It was tense for a minute.
It was. You know what, though? We'll come on to that in a moment. But genuinely, this is one of the things about this, what we're going to unlock. The podcast with Anthony Kim, which we'll release in the coming weeks, was really good. What an insightful guy. What an amazing story. And you are right. I think it's something we need to address in this podcast. There's things that we've both said, and I've certainly said before, that have probably portrayed LIV in a negative light, and maybe some of the players. And I think that's fair. You know, we are here to talk golf, and over the 5 years done the podcast, we're going to say some things that are quite brash, quite bold, that might come back to potentially bite us, and it's got to live with that. It's fine. The thing I would like to clarify, Anthony Kim, though, was he thought that I was calling him a gimmick, which I wasn't calling him personally a gimmick. He's actually a very great guy, very inspiring story. We got a little bit of a snippet of. We didn't get the full details. I think he's going to release that in his own time. But an amazing story, and how much having a daughter really kind of made him reevaluate things and get his life back on track. So well done to him, regardless of what tour you're playing on or what sport you're playing on or who you are. What an incredible story, and kudos to him. I think my claim back then, when it was first announced, was that having someone who hadn't played professional golf for 12 years straight onto a tour was somewhat of a gimmick, which I stand by a bit, and I think probably live with a little bit, that they wanted to get...
It's certainly a marketing strategy.
Well, of course it is. And, maybe gimmick's a strong word, etc. I don't know. But what a guy that had a tale to tell. And you know what? Genuinely, I wish him all the best of luck. I'd love to see him this year have a good season and make some money and feel like his game is trending in the right direction. But he was one of a couple of incidents where it was a little bit... I'm not saying awkward, because he was great, but...
I think what we want to address in this podcast is there was a repeating comment that kept coming through that maybe we've been somewhat anti-LIV. And again, but I weirdly saw so many comments, again, that would kind of be against that have been super pro-LIV. And I would say over the journey of making, 287 podcast episodes, and certainly LIV being such a huge story in so many of those podcast episodes, the biggest thing that's kind of come to professional golf in the last 50 years, it's obviously going to be a hot topic that we talk about a lot. We talked about Bryson DeChambeau a lot. I remember, I really called him out for not shouting 4 all those times. And I stand by that. He should have done it. He did do it. He does do it. We now kind of pally, friendly. We film content with him. Similar to LIV, it's not a perfect product yet. But it's got better all the time. And we've been lucky enough to go to, I think you've been to 3 events.
I've been to every UK event so far.
I've been to 2 events. I went to Centurion the second year and I went to JCB last year. As an event, it's a really good sporting event to go to. And as an event, I actually think it's much better than maybe even watching on TV or YouTube. Because you're just there, and it's just a real... incredible kind of atmosphere and energy and a vibe, and it's very much geared towards the younger golfer, the new generation.
It's more of a party atmosphere.
Maybe not even golfers. You could even argue it's not even really aimed for just golfers. So I think there's that side of things as well. And then for me, the actual criticisms have been very constructive criticism and almost feedback. And a lot of that, whether it's been done on purpose or not, I feel like it's been taken on board. Like there has changes have been made, whether it's me, being critical of the coverage, it continues to get better and it'll continue to get better. Where I've been, again, critical, and again, I'll hold my hands up to this and I'll still stand by this. Like, I still think there's a massive disconnect between fans and teams. Because there is. Like, there's no hiding behind that. There is a disconnection. How does a fan resonate with a team and end up becoming a fan of that team? And I think, part of our involvement in this and our journey of this is being able to potentially showcase those teams. I can't wait to get the full Majestic squad on the channel, or Legion 13, or Smash, or certainly Rippers. I mean, they're doing unbelievable in Australia, obviously, but find out a bit more about these guys. We know the captains, the superstar names, but what about the other players in that group? Obviously, Majestics have got 3 captains, but it's like, how can you connect with them? How can you watch that and go, yeah, you know what? I really like that player. I really liked what his ethics are, or his morals are, or how he plays the game. I really like X, Y, and Z. I could see myself supporting that team in the future.
I think it's a good point. I think that's where I'll be honest again, and I think we keep this as transparent as we can, because it's fair and our audience deserve this. I think where I struggled massively, and I still do a bit, and I think we've got a job, with LIV to try and help people understand the teams, is that when LIV first launched, which was 2023 now, it's obviously done 3 seasons. You're right, the teams were kind of cobbled together, and you can say the exact same thing about TGL and their teams at the minute. They're called certain locations that got no relevance to. And I always thought when I was watching it in the first year, the second year, and even a bit last year as well, of course, that for me, watching the team side of things, I didn't care each week if Legion won or if Smash won or if Stingers won, because it meant nothing to me personally. And I think probably it was quite easy for me to use that as clips for the podcast and to talk about and get my teeth stuck into. I think in fairness to LIV, and this isn't me putting a LIV hat on, but in fairness to LIV, they have gone down the route of team golf. So they have to start somewhere. And I suppose when you look at like football or soccer for our American listeners, I was thinking the other night about why do people support a certain football team? And there's several reasons. I mean, obviously don't know them all, but one of the main reasons is that your parents might pass on a team. So I know you've passed on Man United, unfortunately, to your little boy.
Yeah.
He will now grow up, hopefully for you, supporting Man United when his friends ask him why.
I feel bad for him.
Well, yeah, when they're playing the championship next year. When his friends ask why, well, it's not even a choice. My dad supported them and now I do. And you get that even with people who live in London or all sorts. So that's one reason. And then another reason might be you grow up, your parents are into football, you follow who your friends support. So there you go. Or it might be that you grew up, Cristiano Ronaldo was at Man United, you loved him, therefore you support United, etc. So there's many, many reasons why you might support a football team.
And obviously location.
Location's the big one, of course. Is you live in Liverpool, you might support Everton or Liverpool, whatever. With the LIV teams, apart from maybe you could argue Ironheads a little bit, obviously Stingers, Rippers, who are more location-based. If you are a young guy or girl who's living in, I don't know, Birmingham, how do you support what team to support? How do you choose a team? So that is then why, because I didn't feel like people were doing that, and certainly me myself, that when you're watching a LIV event and there was the individual and the team, for me, the team didn't mean much. However, the teams are here to stay. Team golf is here to stay. I think people that have got into it have got into it. I think the one thing that would get more people into it, including me, is deciding on which team you're going to support. Correct. How do you find from these 13 teams which one is for you? And I think, and I might be wrong, we might be proven wrong, I think a big way of that is firstly showing the teams and how they act together, what the camaraderie is like, and secondly showing the players. So you might then buy into a player. So you might watch one of our videos and go, you know what, I've actually become a massive Ian Poulter fan. You know what, he's grown on me, whatever. I'm going to cheer him on, and therefore it becomes the obvious decision to cheer on Majestics. So I think that's something that once people establish a connection to a team, you'd like to think that therefore the team element of the league has more weight, has more standing.
And what we've said there, and certainly throughout the podcast that we've done, is that's also a sentiment that is very much agreed with by LIV and by the teams themselves. Like we in West Palm Beach, where we did this teams week, we sat down with pretty much every GM, and that was a conversation. How can we get fans to connect with our team? We need to be able to show them what your team is about. You know, one thing is, again, I don't want this one to be today, and I'm not. It's kind of on every point we've ever made to defend it, because people don't want to hear that. I think we have to hold our hand up to some things and try and admit some other things or give some things some more context. But however, one thing, Rick, I don't know if you're aligned on this, that has actually changed my mind. Now, admittedly, you had to be there to see it, is I always thought, and I'll say this now, I thought the players didn't give a toss about the teams. They were almost shoved into a team. That's your team. Go and play golf. Actually, from seeing a lot of it behind closed doors, literally in West Palm Beach, you know, we were around obviously Bryson and the Crushers and Paul Casey, who did a podcast with, was phenomenal. What a funny guy. Actually, these guys do hang around in their teams, and they are a team, and they do actually care about the team. They do.
And even as a silly analogy was, I went up in the lift in the hotel staying in. Thomas Peters was in the lift, and he was taking 2 tour bags because I can't remember who it was now. One of his team had asked him, "Take my tour bag up to your room. My room's not ready yet." And it was like 2 junior golfers on a junior away day. He literally, multi-millionaire, let's be honest, in a hotel lift with 2 tour bags carrying his mates for him to put in his room while his room got sorted. And that's something, as a fan, you don't see, you have no knowledge of. And I think if we show videos where, again, your scrambles or your 2v2s, where people see these camaraderies and these team relationships and these team bonds, that might go on to carry some weight. So people go, you know what, I'm going to start supporting Ironheads or whoever, because I like that team.
What I really want to get across in this podcast as well is that sorry, my throat's gone. What we've said on the podcast, again, constructive criticism, for me, it's still not a perfect product, and there's definitely room for improvement. There's definitely ways of connecting fans with venues, events, players, teams. No question. That's not even an argument. What I'm excited to be able to get involved in is being part of that connection process, like being able to film at these incredible venues. Like when you actually look at the schedule, it's unbelievable. Like it's a proper world tour. So there is Riyadh, which is taking place next week, straight over to Adelaide, which I genuinely can't wait for. I think that Adelaide one is going to be electric. A couple of weeks later, Hong Kong, Singapore, like places I've never been. Like golf is huge over there as well. Then Miami, Mexico City, Korea, South Korea. It's going to be, again, golf is massive out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Massive.
Huge.
I can't wait to see how it's different. Can't wait to show the audience how it's different. How is golf different in Korea and Hong Kong and Singapore? Then it's DC, Dallas, at Valderrama, one of the hardest golf courses in Europe. One of our home golf courses, JCB, the week after, a couple of weeks after, Chicago, Indianapolis, and Michigan. What a lineup.
Do you reckon in that lineup you'll break 75?
This is my prediction. Okay. There's 14 events.
Yep.
I'm going to break 75.
Be careful, Eric. Live by the sword, die by the sword.
I'm going to say 7 or more.
Wow, 50%.
Yeah.
Wow, expecting big things.
Yeah, 70%. Now I'm going to play in championship condition, a super fast greens off the back tees, but my game, again, no one's really seen much of it just yet, has definitely been trending, so I'm excited.
I think as well, one thing that I would like to kind of say to the audience who are listening or viewing, I know obviously what I say or think people aren't bothered about is obviously you.
That's if anyone's listening anymore.
Correct.
They might have all left.
But genuinely, obviously, I have a role here, with you that obviously some people see on the camera, whether it be hosting the podcast or on the occasional video, and obviously the vast majority of what I do, people don't see. And I think genuinely, obviously, my commitment to the business and to the viewer, really, I've got kind of two, sounds silly, but stakeholders, really. One is Rick Shiels Media and one is the audience. And regardless of what people's opinions are right now on either the LIV partnership or on me and what I've said, and, you can slag me off if you want, that's fine. But genuinely, my commitment is to make sure...
You're giving me permission to do that.
Yeah, you always do it. My commitment is obviously to make the best videos possible, and that's twofold. It's simple, isn't it, really? If people don't watch our videos, we don't make any money. It's simple as that. People know YouTube works now, whether it be from ad revenue or from sponsors, whatever it might be. So the last thing we are going to do now is make videos that are subpar, pardon the pun, to lose an audience. We want to make sure our content is as good as it possibly can be. There might be a small percentage of the audience who go, you know what, I'm never watching again. And if that's so, sorry to see people go. I think the vast majority of people, though, even if they've kind of not too happy about this yet, when they see the type of content that's coming, I think they will really, really like it. And I think also to add, I know you'll probably touch on this in a bit more depth, Rick, one of the big questions we've had in our Facebook group is, are you still going to make other kind of regular, quote unquote, normal, how we want to phrase it, content? And obviously you are.
Yeah, 100%. We're fully committed to that. There'll be spells where there's certainly back-to-back LIV events where it'll be a little bit more LIV content, but then there'll be windows where you'll see me playing with regular faces. You'll see me creating other content. If suddenly there's a golf club that goes 500 yards every time, you bet your bottom dollar I'll be there testing it.
You might be on LIV if that's the case.
I'll still be making the hit channel content, which is still my favorite. I love reviewing products. Still be doing the podcast. So as much as this is a huge chunk of content, but it's bloody brilliant content. Imagine a 10-shot challenge with Dustin Johnson.
Yeah.
Or a rematch with Sergio, or Phil Mickelson 10-shot challenge.
Poulter wants it.
Poulter definitely wants it. Bubba Watson we've got lined up. Cam Smith. An actual 10-shot challenge with Brooks Koepka. Or Brandon Grace, Wacko Neiman. The talent pool and the personalities is incredible. And we're guaranteeing this content, so it's so exciting. And I think for the viewer, this wasn't a light decision. We really considered all our options. We wanted to make sure that we're making the right decision for everybody. And it's that, whether you believe it or not, and this might not be the order, but it's the access to players and venues. That's one.
Can I just touch on that for 1 second?
Yeah.
I think one thing that people don't realise, we've had some amazing guests for the 10-shot challenge. I won't reel them all off, but obviously Tommy Fleetwood, Ricky Fowler, Sergio, Ian Poulter, Lee Westwood, list goes on. Some amazing, amazing guests. The ones that have done it have always wanted to do it, which has been phenomenal, and that comes across on camera. However, what actually is a lot more difficult than people probably ever realise is pinning these guys down.
It's really hard.
They've got busy tournament schedules. They've got busy personal lives. They might want to come on this video with Rick and might say, I can do 1st of July. We happen to be somewhere else. So actually nailing them down is difficult. It is our strongest content. So this partnership does actually unlock so much more time with these guys where we can make these videos. So it's not as easy as people think.
And it's booked in advance. We're going to be at the same venue, so it works where... Me and John Rahm have genuinely been trying to get a match together for 2 years plus. That's how long it's been. And it's so difficult. Obviously, I don't live in the US. Our team isn't in the US. They often are. And even if they're not in the US, they're flying here, there, and everywhere. And it's hard. It's a busy schedule where now we've kind of put a plan together to say, John Rahm, are you available at such venue on that date? Yes. And it's locked in.
Did you see the rumours when people saw the announcement that you were moving to the US?
A lot of rumours.
I might do that when I next buy a house. Might start putting stuff on Instagram and moving to Salford. So all these teasers of me walking down the cobbles, dead moody, and then the announcement comes out 2 weeks later.
Street.
Yeah, then the announcement comes out, move to Salford.
I think the other thing is this idea that there is being part of something. Like, obviously we've been an individual channel, like a solo channel, solo creator for 13 years. But even now, just being part of something, being connected to something is really exciting. It like feels like, you know, it's a bigger picture play.
Yeah, I think one thing, again, I'm really conscious of it, and it's hopefully going to come across, maybe it doesn't, but I'm really conscious of trying to say the right thing, but also speak kind of from the heart. That sounds a bit deep, I know, but one thing I think will be really amiss not to add is not only have the players so far been phenomenal, the actual staff we have worked with at LIV are phenomenal. And it, you know, I'm not going to give people's names out personally, but it comes as no surprise that the people that work for LIV have been headhunted from really good jobs and good brands or had great careers themselves. And they have employed some amazing people who we get to now leverage and work with, and to be fair, learn from. I mean, some of the content they've made already using you has come out absolutely phenomenal, that our team can go, wow, like, how do we do that? How do we improve what we do?
And they're learning from us.
Well, exactly, yeah. It's a kind of a two-way street. But
and then obviously another element to this is, not going to get into details, but, you know, as a business owner with staff and overheads, like you want your best for your business. You want to continue to push on, and with this partnership, that's allowed us to do that. You know, it's give us financial boost to help bring in more talent, to bring in better equipment, to up the production, to give us business security. Like, you know, that's a good thing as a business. Like, it's exciting that we can go, okay, we've got, not only have we got guaranteed time with players, guaranteed time with golf courses, spectacular golf courses around the world. We can still film our own content. The content that we're filming is sitting on our channel. It's still going to be us editing it. It's still going to be me filming and our wonderful team filming and editing it. It's also give us the financial security to be able to expand the team and take more risks and, you know, dive into new ventures that we might want to do. It's like, it's so exciting. It's kind of a bit of a no-brainer, so to speak.
I think that's something, again, and the audience shouldn't care about this. You don't have to care about this. You might be thinking, why telling us this? Because I don't care, which is fine. But just to put some context to that, Rick, obviously I'm on the podcast, and so people might recognize me a little bit and know I work for you. You might hear Matt, Ed, and Ben on the Clubhouse episodes who they know work for Rick. But we've got a big team. I don't know if you want to say how many people or not, but we've got a big team now, and it costs money, doesn't it? And not that that's kind of some story or sob story, far from it, but I think a lot of this does provide security as well, but not only the financial, but the actual content opportunities. We know now what our calendar looks like for the next 12 months. That is so powerful when you've actually got staff. Like, a lot of people might not realize that when you're traveling, whether it just be a normal video or not across the world, you have to take people with you, and people have commitments in their own personal lives. To have this diary now for the next year for everybody in the business to know is actually really important. Again, not something that the audience should care about or be interested in, but like the boring logistics of it, if you like.
And, you know, also want to address the elephant in the room. We have lost subscribers. Like, over this weekend, we have lost subscribers, and whether they've unsubscribed because of certain reasons or whether they're thinking, you know, I don't agree with this, whatever it may be, you know, I respect that. That's fine. You don't have to watch. Never forced you. I don't want to see people to leave. Obviously, we've built up this channel to nearly 3 million subscribers. But what we want to be able to do is kind of come back, and it's almost spurred us on to go, okay, we're just going to make even better content. Like, because the content wins, doesn't it? Like, if you make great content, the viewers hopefully are going to watch and love it. And that's kind of our ambition, our goal for this year. You know, and hopefully by the end of this year, those viewers might go, you know what, actually, Rick was spot on there. He did make the right choice, and the content is brilliant, and I'm watching again. Did
it bother you, the unsubscribers? Will you look at the number?
I probably had a live feed, attached to my phone at all times, and every time someone left, I shed a tear. It hurts, it hurts. But it's like, I was trying to put myself in their shoes, and I was trying to go, right, let me think about this. And I've always...
I unsubscribed.
Thanks. Every decision I've done in this whole process, I've always really genuinely, and much as you'll believe it or not believe it, thought about from the fans' perspective. Like, because even and again, I don't mind even sharing this, our announcement video was actually going to be slightly different.
I was going to say that, yeah.
Like, our announcement video, I wanted to add value straight away. We were actually looking to release the Brooks and Brooks and Rahm video at the same time as the announcement video to almost add instant value. There's reasons why we couldn't do that, which might be evident next week. But like, straight away I wanted to add value to the viewer, almost say, instead of saying, oh yeah, this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Instead of just saying it, go, there you go. We have done it. There's the proof. It's not us just saying this. There's the proof. We've done it. But going back to that idea, like when I was a fan thinking, you know, if I've been a fan for a long time and I've been a Rick Shiels fan and I watch the videos, like I understand there might be some worries. And I understand there might be some concerns, and there might, you know, I think, oh, hold on a minute. Rick said he was never going to sign with a manufacturer brand, and that's still true. Like I have said that in the past. I'm not going to particularly sign with a manufacturer brand when it comes to golf equipment. This isn't that. It's a gateway and opportunity to create incredible content, as we've mentioned before.
Do you think it's because I think people still have, I think it's twofold. And I think people still have, some people still have this negative perception towards LIV, which does, correct me if I'm wrong, does feel like it's changed. When LIV first came out, the players that signed got so much negativity. When somebody else signs now, that's nowhere near the same level. And I think because obviously
I got quite a bit.
Well,
yeah,
you're not a player.
Not a player.
Yet. That's nice. And also as well, I think, you know, we have been quite vocal. We're here to give opinions on things. Opinions can change. Sometimes we have to go back and, you know, eat our words, whatever. But because we've had things, people have then come at you hard. If you'd have signed a similar thing with the PGA Tour, I don't think people would have been like that. But actually, it would have been the same kind of deal. It would have been the same kind of content output, I'm sure. I think it's just people still having that little bit of unsure. But I do think from what we've seen with the LIV team, the LIV staff, the LIV players, again, back to the actual individual LIV teams, they are passionate about, and maybe that's something I didn't believe, if I'm being honest with you. I didn't believe the players, again, as I said before, bothered about the teams. I didn't know how much, was it a real thing? Was this team story going to go on forever? Was LIV going to be here forever? How passionate are they about it? But genuinely, and again, it sounds quite kind of anecdotal, I know, but the people we've met really do care, and it makes you think it's going nowhere, and it's something that you want to be part of. And
I've spent little time at the moment, but some really valuable time with Scott O'Neill, who's the new CEO. Wow. Genuinely. And again, hopefully this comes across authentically, like unbelievable character. Come from, I think he originally started in basketball and then moved on to maybe baseball. And he was doing something in another sport, and then he moved to Merlin, which is like the second biggest amusement park business. So he's the CEO of that. He got headhunted to come into LIV. His inspirational speech and how he connects with the players and the teams and I think the fans as well. I think he's going to be a really loved character. So that's super exciting as well about the future growth of LIV as well. So, yeah, it's exciting times. We're really excited about it. Hopefully you guys are as well. Listen, if you've got comments, leave comments down below. We'll try and answer, you know, the ones that we feel like we need to address. It is exciting, and I can't wait to get kicking off with the content.
Should we chat a little bit more then, a bit more in depth about the plans for like the podcast and the content? So I think we kind of said, I think you said in the actual main video, the podcast is going nowhere. We want to try and commit to that. There's going to be some that will be LIV guests. And again, I think just to reiterate on that is that, yes, we're going to be speaking to LIV players and maybe some people who work in that, but it's not all going to be LIV is the best thing ever, because that's not what we want, not what LIV want. We want to just show you these players and let you make the decision. One thing I can say, again, we had Anthony Kim on, it was phenomenal. We also had Paul Casey, I know mentioned before, but what a funny guy and great insight. You and I had to go.
He was great.
He was brilliant. He was like an excited puppy. He was fantastic. You then did Ian Poulter and Sam Horsfield.
Yeah, both been on the channel before.
Was that it then, or was there any more?
That was it.
Right, yes, we've got some good podcasts lined up, but we might bookend. Brandon Grace as well.
Brandon, of course.
We might kind of bookend them with like a bit of normal update, bit of chatting about nonsense, and then throw them in. So I think the podcast by its very nature is not going to change kind of too much. If anything, you're going to get some more good guests on. Still us chatting nonsense, I guess. Hearing about you playing paddle. By the way, you need to talk about that. Spending your dollar already. Come on, tell me about what you bought, Rick.
Well, I bought a gold diamond encrusted paddle racket.
Wow. Tell everyone how much your new paddle racket was.
1,700,000.
Oh, I thought it was 1,800 million thousand. 12. Go on, what was the real price? Can we hear that exclusively?
So I went to buy a paddle racket.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to take my paddle racket in my golf bag and play it in all these amazing places.
You're half LIV, Matt.
You're coming You guys are both coming to Riyadh. You are both playing paddle.
Okay.
It is the most addictive sport in the world.
So okay, that's fine. I'll just play with the racket that they have there. That I'm guessing is a higher racket, little cheapy, little whatever.
You might still win me.
Might still win you.
So I went into the paddle shop,
Yeah,
and the woman was like, "Do you know what you want?" I said, "Honestly, I've not got a clue." Yeah. And I properly, as if I thought to myself, imagine this scenario in the world of golf, right? Yeah. So this is how it happened. I went in and said, "I've not got a clue," and her probably eyes lit up. I should have got a budget in mind. I said, "No, I'm not really sure." And hand on heart, honestly, I thought there'd be about 40 quid.
Right.
Thought there'd be about 40, 50
When
quid.
you walked in, did you have your LIV bomber jacket on? Because that might have given her a clue of how much you want to spend.
And she handed me one and said, "Oh, so this is such a thing." But it was a bit pink. I was like, "Oh, I'm not too
But what's an edition?
I'm not too fussed about that." And then you gave me another one. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not sure about that." She said, "Do you want it to spin?" Or I was like, "I want it to spin all around." She went, "Okay." So there's this one. I said, "Oh, I like that." And it said the word pro on it.
Of course it did.
And I was like, "Oh, I like that." I said, "Is it a bit too advanced for me?" She went, "No, not at all."
A bit too stiff.
That's perfect for you. She went, "Do you want another price?" I went, "No, honestly, it's fine." And that, I know people are going to probably hate me on that, but that wasn't me. I just honestly thought it'd be like 50 quid. Yeah. I went, "Yeah, I'll pay them, please." She went, I said, "It's £190, please."
You said, "Love to."
£190. And I still can't use it. But it's almost like, imagine the scenario. That's like a complete novice that's played a couple of rounds of golf or been to driving range, going into a golf shop saying, "Oh yeah, can I buy a driver?" And literally being sold like a Ping G400 Pro LST.
You know what though? That is a lot of... Yeah.
And a matching three.
Yeah, but that is a lot of money for a racket. Don't get me wrong. Certainly when you've not played that much, I get that. However, I know we have these back and forth. Is golf expensive? Yes or no? It can be cheap. It can be expensive. But if you use that same analogy, if you went to a golf shop, even if it was a package set and wanted something to get you going, you are looking at a lot more in most cases than £190. You've got to then buy, obviously, typically golf shoes, golf balls, obviously a glove, tees. You could really have, I'm guessing, a pair of normal trainers. There will be specialist ones.
I took my golf shoes the other day.
Did you?
Yeah. Just wore my Echo trainer golf shoes.
And then you need obviously a couple of balls. I'm guessing they last a while.
Weirdly, I thought that, but the balls don't last that long.
Oh, really?
About a month to get out of them.
Better than a Pro
We don't
V1.
lose them.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm excited to see how the paddle...
Core hire can get pricey.
Same as a green fee, I guess.
Yeah. How
much is a court hire?
If there's 4 of you, I've paid anywhere between £6 a person and £10 a person.
For an hour?
Yeah.
I'm hearing a lot about paddle, really.
Honestly, mate. Next week,
I do want to try
playing it. We are, that was the other big announcement. Potentially setting up a Rick Shiels paddle channel.
Well, that was going to be my escape if I got pushed away from this podcast. Yeah, I was going to set up the paddle channel. Not played yet, but I'm sure I could fluke it.
Right, everyone. Hopefully that clears some things up. It's still the same old me and Guy. Same old wonderful team. I won't say old team, wonderful team. It'll still be the same content, but just elevated to a new level, traveling the world, and I'm outrageously excited about it.
You've done a good job. I think I'm still going to debate whether I'm resubscribing again. I'm going to subscribe to the channels because I unsubscribed from all. I went bang. The way I did it was the announcement came out, went bang straight away on the first one. That was gone. Then I thought about the podcast and slept on it. Hit went as well. So then the next day I went off the podcast. So I've got 3 to subscribe back to. So I think you've charmed me into the podcast.
£100 per subscribe.
Yep. I've got to give you £100.
No, I pay you.
Oh, right, okay.
Are you back?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm back.
I'm joking.
Yes, there we go.
It's going to be, and again, proof will hopefully be in the pudding. It'll be the same content, but better, that you've become familiar with, that you love.
Same, but better. Okay, I like that. Familiar with. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
Is that your promise?
I think so.
Right, fair dues. Great. Well, we'll be back. When are we going to be back next?
We shall be back.
Is it
next Tuesday?
Is it not even a little Friday? We could even chuck in Friday. We could do. Oh no, we can't. It's the big video. We'll be back every week, and then we'll maybe the Fridays. We might do some remotes. Obviously, I'm not going to every event. I'm going to a few. You're obviously going to them all. We can do a few like remotes on.
We're thinking about
mics.
doing two a week, aren't we?
Yeah. Clubhouse Friday, chatting a bit of nonsense.
Yeah.
Then have guests on, a bit more serious stuff.
Well, we've got all the podcasts pre-recorded.
That's exactly. There's some good ones.
Should we release one of them this week?
I wouldn't be offended by that. The Paul Casey one is like a nice little giddy one for a Friday when you're in the car getting ready to come home from work and you get Paul Casey dropping in your inbox.
Let's do that Friday. Paul Casey. We'll do an intro to that.
Okay.
See you all soon, everyone.